After having completed the visit to the Lake Nakuru National Park in the forenoon of 24th July 2025, we returned to Centrum Alimentator Hotel, had lunch, and proceeded in the afternoon to Lake Naivasha, which was about 2 hours ride, for the boat safari which we had missed the previous day. Lake Naivasha is a freshwater lake in central Kenya that lies just on the eastern edge of the Great Rift Valley. The lake is elevated at 1,884 meters, making it one with the highest elevation in the Rift Valley. The lake had a normal surface area of 139 square kilometers before 2010 and had increased to 198 square kilometers by 2020. It is surrounded by papyrus swamp and forests of the yellow-barked acacia, commonly called the yellow fever trees, which covers an area of 64 square kilometers, but this can vary largely depending on rainfall. The lake has an average depth of 6 meters, with the deepest area being at Crescent Island with a maximum depth of 30 meters. Nyorova Gorge once formed the lake's outlet, but it is now high above the lake and forms the entrance to Hell's Gate National Park. The town of Naivasha, formerly East Nakuru, lies on the northeast edge of the lake. The unique flora, together with the lake, make a perfect habitat for a wide number of bird and mammal species. The lake's waters and surrounding fertile soils also enhance agricultural activities in the area. Lake Naivasha is named after a Maasai word, Naivasha, which means rough waters, and the lake was given this name because in some seasons there are sudden storms that arise on the lake waters. Lake Naivasha is mainly fed by River Maliwa and River Gilgil, and it is said in some seasons a couple of streams are seen to flow into the lake. Though a freshwater body, Lake Naivasha doesn't have a known water outlet. And because it's a freshwater body, nature scholars believe the lake has an underground outlet where it lets its waters out. Lake Naivasha is located between Lake Nakuru and Masai Mara, which complements the lake's rich diversity. Naivasha is a popular stop of Kenyan safaris. Lake Naivasha and its surroundings harbor numerous bird species that include kingfishers, pelicans, great cormorants, fish eagles, grey-backed fiscal, hawks, cuckoos, woodpeckers, shrikes, and many more. The animals around the lake include waterbucks, impalas, zebras, some buffaloes, giraffes, colobus monkeys, and many more. The lake waters are a habitat for giant hippos and crocodiles. The fresh waters are a great source of black bass, tilapia, and crayfish. The lake is home to a variety of types of wildlife, including over 400 different species of bird and a sizable population of hippos. The fish community in the lake has been highly variable over time, influenced by changes in climate, fishing effort, and the introduction of invasive species. The most recent shift in the fish population followed the accidental introduction of common carp in 2001. 9 years later, in 2010, common carp accounted for over 90% of the mass of fish caught in the lake. All this, coupled with the lake's deep blue waters, have made the lake a top tourism spot in Nakuru and Kenya. Another aspect of Lake Naivasha is the landing site that it was in the years before. Lake Naivasha was a famous landing site for flying boats, a kind of seaplanes, between the years 1930s and 1950s. The boats were operated by Imperial Airways, whose mail route was Southampton, United Kingdom, to South Africa. Famous author Joy Adamson lived along the Lake Naivasha's shores in the 1960s. Joy was a famous British naturalist and author. She wrote the international bestseller Born Free, a book that described her trials and tribulations of raising a lion cub. The place which she wrote about was turned into a conservation center to support efforts of conserving Lake Naivasha. Like the Lake Elementaita and Lake Nakuru, Lake Naivasha is also designated as a Ramsar site, recognized for its importance as a wetland of international significance. A Ramsar site is a wetland area designated as being of international importance under the Ramsar Convention. The Ramsar Convention, officially known as the Convention on Wetlands of International Importance, especially as waterfowl habitat, is an international treaty focused on the conservation and sustainable use of wetlands. It was signed in 1971 in Ramsar, Iran, and is also referred to as the Convention on Wetlands. Floriculture forms the main industry around the lake. Fishing in the lake is also another source of employment and income for the local population. The lake varies in level greatly and almost dried up entirely in the 1890s. Lake levels in general follow the rainfall pattern in the catchment area. Water levels in the Rift Valley lakes have since varied considerably, with several of the lakes almost drying up several times. The water level for Lake Naivasha reached a low of 0.6 meter depth in 1945 but the water level rose again with minor drops to reach a maximum depth of nearly 6 meters in 1968. There was another major decline of the water level in 1987 when the depth reached 2.25 meters above the lake bottom. The decline of the lake water level in 1987 increased concern in the future of geothermal industry, and it was speculated that Lake Naivasha underground water might be feeding the geothermal reservoir at Olkaria. Hence, the decline in the lake water would affect the future of the geothermal industry. The surface area of the lake had increased by over 50% by 2020, causing many people to be displaced from the densely populated areas around the lake. Lake Naivasha, once described as the jewel in the crown of all the East African lakes, has in recent decades been subjected to a series of devastating human pressures, not least the establishment of a vast horticulture and agriculture industry along its shorelines, but also the ever-increasing inflows of nutrients from siltation, sewage, and other effluents emanating from a lakeside ever-increasing human population. In 1981, the first geothermal plant for Lake Naivasha was commissioned, and by 1985, a total of 45 megawatts of electricity was being generated in the area. One of the main tourism activities in Lake Naivasha is the boat ride. Boat rides on Lake Naivasha are refreshing experiences that take you on the cozy, breezy lake waters as you explore the unique and diverse flora, bird life, and wildlife on the lake and its surroundings. Floating rafts of the exotic water hyacinth could be seen near the shores of the lake. The water hyacinth is native to South America and was reportedly introduced to Kenya in the 1980s. Usually, the presence of water hyacinth is linked to pollution. It is known to thrive in the presence of contaminants and grows quickly and is considered the most invasive aquatic plant species in the world. The guided boat rides on the lake take place daily on the lake. However, they are more exhaustive during the dry seasons. The duration of the boat ride depends on your preference and intent for the boat ride. There are also few other attractions here for those who would like to explore further. Crescent Island, located in Lake Naivasha, is a unique wildlife sanctuary accessible by boat. It's known for its crescent shape formed by a volcanic crater, its abundant wildlife, and its role as a filming location for the movie Out of Africa. Visitors can enjoy walking safaris among freely roaming animals like giraffes, zebras, and wildebeest without the fear of encountering any predators. Movies such as Tomb Raider, Sheena Queen of the Jungle, The White Mischief, The Cradle of Life, The Eyes of a Witness, The Cheetah, Out of Africa, and TV serials like Born Free were either fully or partially shot right here on the Crescent Island. Another attraction near the Lake Naivasha is that it is close to Hell's Gate National Park, a park that is endowed with beautiful volcanic landscapes and sceneries and hiking trails. You can also have a spa at Olkaria Geothermal Spa, the largest geothermal spa known in Africa currently. The spa gets its heat from the volcanic activity around, hence the name Hell's Gate. You can also take the adventurous climb up Mount Longonot, a dormant volcano. The hike takes about 4 to 5 hours to reach the crater of the mountain. The boat ride in Lake Naivasha was quite worth as we were able to see many bird species including vultures, pelicans, kingfishers, fish eagles, ostrich, etc. and animals like waterbuck, hippos, monkeys and giraffes. After completing the boat ride that lasted for an hour and a quarter, we returned to Centrim Elementator Hotel.